All right, Bitcoin Monday. Let's look at the weekly first, and then we'll zoom into the shorter time frames. But first and foremost, the second highest all-time close ever out of Bitcoin, just confirmed at the weekly close. Look at that. Perfect. So we've now color-coded our upper tier to the blue skies that it is. This is rare air. We've only seen this a handful of times, and on the verge of price discovery, very likely this week. Upper Bollinger Band tap, I think, is on the cards, and that upper Bollinger Band is 108.6 as of now. Will likely continue to rise and open more. You can see the lower Bollinger Band diverging, which is a good sign. And can we potentially make a new all-time high this week? 109.5. Can we do it? I think the odds are there based on this move. And that lower to upper Bollinger Band move would be an even bigger sign of monumental power here. And we've been saying for weeks and months even, if and when we get above this green zone, bull market is back on, especially if we close above there. Here we are, right? Did we close above the green? It only had to do 98.5. It took out this high. It took out this high, which is astonishing. What a candle close, over 10%. $10,000 is a 10% move now. So here we are. And holding so far this week, we could still move down to the EMA 8 and remain overly bullish. Right? If your price action's above the EMA 8, you can't possibly be bearish. Just like by definition, okay? So that's where we are. I think higher sooner than later. However, right, we want Bitcoin dominance to fall so altcoins can continue to flourish, and that might be the case for maybe some part of this week. But if we flip over to there real quick, you can see a pretty bearish candle here, confirmed last week, closing under the EMA 8. But we did similar vibes here where we had a bit of a waterfall here. I don't know if we're that lucky because we have kind of these highs, resistance, low support, loosely followed. And I think if we're going to bounce, it would make sense around, 60 to 61 in this zone, right in this area. And if we do that, why am I saying this? Well, if Bitcoin dominance bounces, what would that mean for Bitcoin? So if we flip back over to Bitcoin, you can see it's been, relatively calm here for the past maybe couple of days, right? Price action hasn't gone too high over the past few days. And so I would guess, if you had to make me guess at this point, that if and when Bitcoin is going to rip up this higher move this week, and it does in fact go to 110 and back to price discovery, Bitcoin dominance is likely going to bounce and go back up and put altcoins a little bit more on hold. And then once Bitcoin hangs out and chills up here, I think that's when we see our much bigger moves out of altcoins. So we now see total 3, which we talked about all last week. Anything above like 900, 910, 920 in that area, which we're clearly above now, is where alts will start to shine. And I think we've seen that. We have some up double digits today, doing very well. If yours aren't, right, it's just the victim of the environment. It'll flip soon enough, right? When you have total 3 outperforming the others in a big way, you're starting to see the sign. Is this a big way? It's starting to get there. Like 1.5, 3. Really, you want this about double of total 2, and then you're kind of in your alt season. So early signs, right? We're seeing that flip here. You want total 3 outperforming and bullish, right? Now above 900 is what we're looking for. So having said that, all this stuff pieced together, I think in the next couple of weeks, assuming Bitcoin goes higher, right? And again, we could still be overly bullish if we even kind of put in a flag formation back to this EMA 8 here, right? And then we could just bounce like that going into, this is only 30 days from now right here, right? So we could kind of pause. This would be like kind of worst case scenario for me in my book right now. If we don't just blast through here, which we could easily do, right? So be prepared for that just because of how strong that weekly close was. But you can't get too upset if we did something like this and we kind of just put on pause. I think altcoins will still do very well here, honestly, because Bitcoin dominance could easily continue to fall here as long as it's not in abrupt, 5 or 10% Bitcoin harsh reality. If this takes like 2 or 3 weeks to get down here, altcoins can still go higher. So that's exciting potentially here, right? And keep in mind how many green weekly candles we've seen here without a break. We have alerts firing on some alts. So my 2 cents for the weekly scale is higher first, but if we pause, like I'd be looking at high 90s, right? You'd want to just follow that EMA 8. At this point, we could very well be in this stage where we're just in liftoff mode, and we could very well be at knocking on the door of 120 by the end of May. Yeah, that's like 2 weeks away. Like, it wouldn't shock me based on this setup, but like, let's do a reality check and see how far we've gone already, right? It's over 40% here in a pretty quick fashion. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just hesitate a little bit. That'd be fine. Maybe we're in this part of the area where we kind of got close to all-time highs, but not quite. Hesitate for a couple of weeks and then make our move, right? Maybe we just kind of go into the rest of May and hold up here. And this would be great for altcoins as well. If Bitcoin can just hold up here, dominance will continue to fall. Altcoins will continue to shine. We'll get total 3 above $1 trillion pretty quickly. And then you'll start seeing altcoins really explode. And this would be the ultimate bullish scenario for alt season to start right here. If we just hesitate above 100, like where we are now, in this stay in the blue sky zone, and alts will blue sky as well. So that's the good, right? If Bitcoin hesitates, I think alts will still fly. The only way alts kind of go on pause, where we are like, damn it, is if Bitcoin is not done yet and it's going to go to 120 in the next handful of weeks. I think, rising tide lifts all ships, right? I think alts will go up, but, we're here for 10, 20% plus moves for altcoins day over day, right? That's what we want. That's why we're in alts. We want the big moves. We want this 1% bullshit. That's great. Good. I'm glad it's green, but I think we're all here for double-digit plus. And we want that day over day. Thank you. That's what alt season is going to take. And I think it's just to see a full-blown alt season, we're going to have to get Bitcoin up here and then kind of chilling and price discovery. This is not where Bitcoin dominance chills, right? This is where Bitcoin dominance is going to rip. And Bitcoin dominance, that we looked at that chart, looks like it could potentially bounce higher. We could maybe even go back to new highs for Bitcoin dominance. It's potentially there, right? Upper 60s again, if this move occurs, if that move occurs. If it's a slow and steady move up, like maybe something more along the lines of this, right? We eliminate this or do this later. Like, if we could just kind of grind along this and be at like 115 in 30 days, and we just slowly move up, altcoins are still going to blow up. So, in all the scenarios we've kind of looked at, altcoins tend to do better in most of those scenarios. The only way altcoins don't do very well soon, in my opinion, is if Bitcoin is, in fact, getting ready to go into even more of a nuke mode, which seems less likely just given the past 5 weeks of price action here. I mean, we're at 74K 5 weeks ago. So let's take a breather here. Let altcoins catch up, and if they will catch up big time if Bitcoin hangs out in the blue zone. All right, so that's what we're kind of hoping for. It looks like we could potentially do that. But also, don't be shocked if we're at 110 tomorrow, right? That's not going to surprise me. Okay, let's go into, let's actually look at how about we look at the Gaussian channel on the weekly real fast and note how well far below it is. It's way the hell down here, right? We bounced off the top of the channel. Trading View is taking a nap. So we will zoom in to the 3-day. Maybe it will load on here. We can check it there. But okay, we're still in our 3-day blue zone. We've closed a couple 3-day candles above the blue. Our Bollinger Bands are still diverging from each other, signaling, hugging the top of the Bollinger Band. That's a power move. Again, you should be looking at any kind of low target on any of these time frames for that EMA 8 to hold based on the power of these moves. You could see the 3-day chart is just flipped bearish. So why the hell would it do that? It's because of all this price action right here, right? That's the signal of the red. So lagging indicators, and also why I don't tend to follow the Gaussian channel warnings or bullishness. You don't want to look at bullish or bearish as much. Anything short of the 5-day. So 5-day, weekly, monthly, right? Obviously pay attention to. On the 3-day, daily, like it's good to just see a snapshot of where we are. And keep in mind, like, give it, I would say maybe another week or two, and this will probably flip right back green. So just like a little bit of a fake out, much shorter than it was back here. And if we just look at that, right, same thing. Why did it turn red? Because of the falling price action here, right? We fell down, turned the averages down a little bit. Took about 2 months to flip this one back green. But look at what happens as you get on top. So I would guess we're in some kind of this scenario here. Within 1 to 4 weeks, I would say price discovery is back on. Could easily be this week, but I think we're in a rhyme of that move right there. So we'll see. All right, we've been rhyming very close with all of this so far. So what has been happening for weeks and months will likely continue for weeks and months. And I think price discovery is more likely than not at this point. So Gaussian channel red, but about to flip back green on the 3-day. Price action, very bullish still. Looking at the Bollinger Bands, looking at the EMA setup. Look at the ribbons here. Harsh cross by the EMA 8, the red. And we haven't even really touched it. If you put it on closing prices, look at that move. That is some serious power and the ultimate bear trap down here, right? That was pretty good. And we confirmed that 3-day double bottom right here when we took out this top right here, right? That was a high signal, right? We talked about that how many times, that we were likely to continue higher based on that. And that was the low. And if we revisit this again, that would be bear market. And this would be a huge fake out. That is almost impossible now. So I would say bears are almost extinct and you need to be leaning full bull at this time. If we go down, like green zone to hold. If we break under the green zone, okay, now we need to kind of reevaluate because that's not the odds, right? The odds are consolidation between blue and green and then higher. So if you're still in the bear boat, you need to be looking for holes in the boat, right? You are in trouble. Okay, so that's the 3-day. Let's zoom into the daily. Look at the structure here. From the red zone, bounce up, consolidation sideways. Move up, consolidation sideways. Move up, consolidation sideways. Bulls climbing up the stairs. Move back down. Look how much consolidation in the green zone here. Right? If we would come down, we want to hold that 21 at the worst case. So that's at 97.5 at this point, but rising day over day. Okay, we're in the blue zone even on the daily chart. Look for the EMA 8 to hold. If we close under the EMA 8, next moving average is the 14, where we hit last time for 2 days, and then major bounce again. Green zone, you're still leaning bullish. And I don't care if we're at 96.5 tomorrow. You're bullish. These are green for a reason. Blue is obscenely, right? It's blue skies, right? Hopefully you can see the the meanings behind these, right? They shouldn't be too hard, right? Have your 5th grader explain it to you. Okay, so leaning bullish at near all-time highs. I can't tell you how extremely strong of a move this is from 74 to 104. Think of that. All the people calling for so much bear down here. The caution was there on the low time frames, but not the high time frames. Right? Anything we looked at on the monthly, weekly, or the 3-month chart that we were looking at all down here did not look bad. There was no warnings. And here's the result of that, right? You cannot fall victim to the short time frames and, looking at indicators, right? Because they're going to be lagging price. And one best things to look for is OBV and divergence. And this was already putting in higher highs here. And it had a higher low where we had a lower low, right? This is signaling back the other way sooner than later, and we're seeing the result of that in a astounding way right now. This is pretty fantastic, and once we get back to price discovery, that'll shock. I think the sentence shock the world. I think when we see Bitcoin at new all-time highs, right, all the people that sold even at in the 90s or back here, that were patting themselves on the back when we were going down here and thought they timed the bull market top. Well, guess what? I think you're going to eat your words here, right? So all the people that are still thinking we're in a bear market, your boat is leaking. Everything's looking great here. Don't see any kind of warning signs on anything. Leave me a comment below if your favorite analyst has something spooky to show. If something's not looking good, as I've seen, I don't see any warnings really in any indicators on the macro or the micro. Higher is definitely the odds in my book. Let's look at if we look at the Golden Cross and Death Cross, let's just remove all this. Just do an update there. We're coming up to a Golden Cross here. I would say maybe towards the end of this week, if we hold up here for sure. And keep in mind, we talked about this last week a little bit. Death Cross, you have a rally. Golden Cross, you tend to fall. So maybe if we have a blow-off move to like new all-time highs here, or a little mini move to like 110, that would maybe get us a Golden Cross, and then we kind of flag down into, back to 100 or high 90s as the Golden Cross happens, hold that line, and then have our explosive move late May or early June. I think that's what I would go with based on this setup and everything we're looking at, just how fast we've gone here. Like, we're up 40%. I wouldn't be shocked if we could maybe do like new all-time highs, like do a 50% move to 112, 115, and then go in a kind of a little bit bigger kind of move down here where we kind of do this move. Let's go like somewhere in there, and then kind of flag back down to either here or here, right? Depending on how fast we get there. If it's this week, I would probably anticipate holding the blue. If not, even this. And then the high time frames, this would probably look pretty good, right? So let's go out to the weekly and see how this looks on the weekly. So something like this would just be so terrific. And then, summertime, June, July, we'd probably be knocking on the door of 150. I would guess something like that. I don't know if I see this move coming again this quick, but hey, there it is, right? If you just want to see it here, right, from the lows to the highs, how quick that was. Or if you did that over there, I mean, look at this. It follows the damn same path I just drew. That still gets you to, 4th of July week at 140K if we just copy paste that right there. And we're seemingly ahead of it, which is like a little bit sketchy, right? We're going a little even faster than this. So that's why I think we'll probably go to like new all-time highs, somewhere close to it maybe, and then kind of flag back down. I'd rather do that than this move, because then we could very well be end of cycle here. I don't think we'd want that, right? If we go really fast to like 120, 130 even, like if we're at 130 before July 4th, I would be worried about a macro top, because this could be the blow-off move that we're in right now. So just keep that in mind. I'd rather do something like this and then kind of pause for a couple weeks, or flag, bull flag, right? I mean, look at that bull flag. That would be a perfect bull flag here. Big move up, bull flag down, hold support. We have plenty of fuel to go, to 150 by, late summer. That's my ideal scenario. And then, basing that off all the price action we've said, and, my kind of a forecast on the Golden Cross coming up, right? A Golden Cross will typically, we're going to see a move down. All right. Well, while TradingView is thinking it over, we'll wrap it up there. I'll see you on the next one.